The highway stretched endlessly ahead, a lonely ribbon cutting through dense, shadowy woods. The hum of the engine was the only sound in the oppressive quiet, broken now and then by the distant cry of some unseen creature. The air was thick with the scent of pine and rain-soaked asphalt, and the setting sun cast long, jagged shadows across the road. I was already late, the weight of the day pressing heavy on my shoulders when the drive took a turn for the worse. The thump was a dull, sickening sound that vibrated through the steering wheel and into my bones. I wrestled the car onto the shoulder of the road, the gravel crunching a harsh counterpoint to the sudden silence. It was a flat. Perfect. Just what I needed on this backwoods highway, miles from anything resembling civilization. The sun was already dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised purples and angry oranges. I pulled out my phone, but the screen was a blank, mocking mirror. No signal, of course. I sighed, the sound swallowed by the deepening twilight. This wasn't ideal. I grabbed the spare and the jack from the trunk, the metallic clang echoing unnaturally loud in the stillness. The forest pressed close on either side of the road, the trees standing like silent sentinels, their branches twisted into grotesque shapes. As I worked, the air grew colder, a damp chill that seeped into my skin. The scent of pine and damp earth was heavy, almost suffocating. I could hear the rustle of leaves, the scratch of something moving through the undergrowth, tiny sounds that amplified the feeling of isolation. I kept glancing up, half expecting to see a deer or a fox, but there was nothing, just the deepening shadows and the unnerving quiet. The tire finally changed. I wiped my hands on my jeans, a sense of relief briefly washing over me. I was about to get back in the car when I noticed it. A subtle flicker, something out of the corner of my eye. I turned my head, scanning the tree line, and for a split second, I thought I saw a face. It wasn't a clear face, just a suggestion of features, dark, hollowed eyes, and a wide, thin mouth, all etched within the bark of a gnarled oak. I blinked, and when I looked again, it was gone. Just the light playing tricks, I muttered, clenching my jaw. I got back in the car, switching on the engine, the rumble of the engine somehow comforting. But as I pulled back onto the road and into the dark forest, the unease returned, heavier this time, like a physical weight pressing down on my chest. It was like the trees were watching me, judging me. Then it happened again. Another flicker, another face in the shadows. This time it seemed clearer, not just etched into the bark, but part of it, like the tree itself was morphing, contorting into a grimacing mask. I sped up, my heart pounding against my ribs. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, exhaustion, but the faces kept appearing, each one different, each one more disturbing than the last. Some were leering, some were screaming, all were silent, yet somehow deafening. I started seeing movement now too, not sudden, frantic dashes, but slow, deliberate shifts. The branches twisting, the leaves shuffling, as if they were reaching for me. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. The air within the car felt thick, stagnant, with the scent of decaying leaves even stronger now, as if the forest itself was invading my personal space. Then I saw it. A figure in the trees. Not a face on the bark, but a whole figure, thin and elongated, its limbs impossibly long, standing there in the deeper shadows between the trees. It wasn't a deer, wasn't a person. It was something else. Its eyes, when they caught the headlights, glowed with an unnatural phosphorescence. My foot instinctively slammed on the accelerator, the car lurching forward, the tires spinning on the loose gravel. The figure didn't move, it simply tilted its head. A slow, unnatural gesture that sent a shiver down my spine. This wasn't just a hallucination. This was real. And that's when I understood. The faces weren't in the trees. They were the trees. This whole forest wasn't made of wood and leaves. It was a single, gigantic, sentient being. And it was watching me, playing with me. I screamed, a broken, desperate sound that was instantly swallowed by the forest. The car lurched again, the headlights bouncing wildly as I lost control. I couldn't tell if I was still on the road or if I had veered off into the woods. I braked hard, and the car skidded to a halt, the engine stalling. In the silence that followed, I could hear the rustling of leaves and the low, slow breath of something immense nearby. The faces were everywhere now, no longer subtle hints, but vividly cruel expressions that had haunted me throughout the drive. For so long, I thought it was the forest itself mocking me, carving these grotesque visages into its trees, weaving its malice into every branch. But now, as they moved closer, stepping out from between the shadows of the trees, the truth clawed at my mind. These weren't faces in the bark, they were people, hidden among the trees all along, watching, waiting. The headlights flickered, then died, plunging me into suffocating darkness. The scrape of fingers dragging across the roof of my car sent a shudder through me. It wasn't the forest closing in, it was them. They had been there the entire time, ancient and human, and their hunger was far worse than I'd feared.